I'm Zach Grant. I am a extension educator with the University of Illinois Extension, primarily focusing on local foods and small farms with a primary actual focus on urban agriculture. So we're at what we call the South Suburban Cook County Urban Ag Demonstration Farm, or SoSuCo for short. And this is a 1/4 acre University of Illinois Extension managed urban ag demonstration and research farm. It was established back in 2019. So this is about our 4th year of production. Again, we have about a 1/4 acre. We're standing inside of our 20 by 48 foot high tunnel that we do year-round production in and research and demonstration. And outdoors, we have a mixture of native soil beds, so actual native soil here in this kind of para-urban landscape that we're in, as well as some of what I like to call our urban agricultural production areas. So behind the camera, we have 12 raised beds that you'll see, and those are mainly imported custom soil media that we bring in from outside source. And we also have unstructured berm style beds just to the north of that. So we have a mixture of protected culture, in-ground native soil production, as well as imported soils or grafted soils that are more common in urban production areas. Oh, and we also have infrastructure outside of the fence that you'll see in the map, where we have one large 8 by 20 foot storage container, which is pretty typical for our urban ag sites. So these are movable storage containers that we could literally pack the farm up and move to other locations if need be. And we have a mobile washing and packing area just outside of the fence as well. So this site is primarily farmed by the University of Illinois. So myself, our program coordinator, Sarah Botka, and sometimes an army of volunteers, which include Master Gardener volunteers, as well as summer intern help that we sometimes help. We do have a summer intern this year that helps us with harvesting 1 or 2 days a week. And all the produce actually does get donated to local area food pantries in collaboration with our SNAP education team. We primarily set this site up for demonstration and research purposes for extension, so we could literally demonstrate what urban agriculture looks like to our various stakeholders that we work with in an educational context, as well as look at some of the applied research problems that urban growers are dealing with. So we're doing a little bit of replicated and applied research here, as well as just kind of some observational variety trial type research as well. We're hoping at maybe some point in the future, if we do expand the site from a 1/4 acre, to have some incubator farmers here where we can bring in some of our trainees from our Master Urban Farmer Training Program, which is our kind of hallmark training program we have in Cook County Extension for urban agriculture. We use the site for those purposes as well, potentially incubation, but also just for in-person workshops where we have trainees come out and learn and do some hands-on learning at the site. The land that we're on right now is actually owned by Prairie State College, which is a large community college in South Suburban Cook County in the greater Chicagoland area. And this is what they call their Matson Area Center. It's one of their continuing education buildings. And they own this 5-acre strip here in this para-urban community of Matson, Illinois, just south of Chicago. And we actually have our 1/4 acre demo farm located within this 1/2 acre sort of mode area that they have just to the west of their building. So we've been working with them since about 2016, 2017, establishing an MOU and kind of a lease-free agreement to build out our demo farm here. So they're our primary partner in allowing us to use the land here to set up our demonstration farm. We also, again, donate all of our produce. We donate anywhere between 2,000 to 3,000 pounds of produce from the 1/4 acre site every single year. So we partner with our SNAP education team and some of the food pantries that they serve with their educational programs with SNAP. So those are kind of our primary partners with the site. The mission/vision of the farm, again, is to provide demonstration and research opportunities for urban agricultural stakeholders in the greater Chicagoland area. We are housed here in South Cook, so we tend to attract some of our urban ag stakeholders from Chicago and the South Suburban Cook regions, but we do get people from all over the county to come and use the site for our workshop purposes. Primarily, we're trying to literally demonstrate and provide research opportunities for urban ag stakeholders. So that is primarily conducted by extension staff, myself, our program coordinator, and volunteers that we have to come and manage the site. The history of the site is that the partnership began back in 2016 with Prairie State College. They had this 1/2 acre mowed space that they owned, and they were looking to do something with it along the lines of maybe start a community garden or something with our horticulture educators. And I, as the newer local food small farm educator that was going to be focusing on urban agriculture, saw this para-urban site and decided this would be a perfect location to set up a demonstration and research farm for extension. I had managed our Sustainable Student Farm project on campus for 7 years, and part of me coming on with extension was setting up an urban scale equivalent of our research farm on campus. So that was the idea, that was the seed for the idea, and then we found the ideal partner and site in Prairie State College here back in 2016, and we slowly developed the site over 3 years and kind of began production in the summer of 2019. So as far as pest challenges go, we're kind of in a unique spot. This is, as I've mentioned, a para-urban landscape, so it has some of the qualities of kind of the rural hinterlands and rural fringe, but some of the characteristics of the denser urban areas. So that being said, and it being a new site, we've yet to really truly encounter high levels of pest pressure. We do have some of the typical classic sort of market farm pests like flea beetles that you will see, a little bit of aphid pressure, but we do not have the pressure that you see at, you know, market farms that have been established in rural areas for long periods of time, or some of the invasive pest problems that some of our urban farm stakeholders have, most notably swede midge. So we're actually working on a project right now with our campus IPM specialist on trying to figure out this swede midge problem that our urban growers are having, and in fact you're probably going to talk to some today and you'll learn more about swede midge. But we don't actually have swede midge at this site. We've been monitoring for it for the past couple years. We're developing a new molecular technique to properly identify the swede midge from our traps, and we don't have the swede midge problem, but we do have some of the damage identified from some of our other urban growers in the urban core. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, you know, aphids, flea beetles are probably the two primary pests. We do have some of the lepidopteran pests like, you know, a little bit of tomato hornworm, a little bit of imported cabbage moth, but not really as many problems as a more established longer-term rural farm might have. In fact, here in the tunnel, we have a IPM project here where we're monitoring sort of the beneficial parasitoid wasps that the populations we have in the tunnel, and they've actually kept really good control of the aphid population in this tunnel in particular, which we're quite proud of. Some of that may have been native parasitoids, but we also did some augmentative biological control. We introduced some of those ourselves, and we try to contain them in the tunnel. So yeah, we don't have any sort of unique pest problems that some of the urban farm stakeholders do in Chicago in particular. So even though our pest pressure problems aren't massive, we still do have an integrated pest management strategy here at the SoSuCo farm, which primarily starts with some of the cultural control methods. So we try to do as much rotation as we can in this limited amount of space we have. And then we start with some of the physical barriers. So we use a lot of insect netting when we establish our plantings, coupled with rotation. It does a pretty good job of staving off flea beetles with the limited amount of flea beetle issues that we actually do have here at the site. In addition to that, we do tend to have some of the more organic or OMRI certified reactive pest strategies in place. So we have a fair amount of, you know, BT products on hand, pyrethrum products, and other biologic products we're trialing out, just in case we do have pop-up pressure and we have to have a reactive approach to it. Here in the tunnel, we've fully adopted kind of at this point a conservation biological control, but mixed with augmented biological control with some of the parasitoid introductions we've had have kept our aphid population in here in check. So really the past 2 years, even though we see little bit swells of aphid pressure, particularly in the winter, by the time the spring and summer season rolls around, those parasitoids pretty much have neutralized the aphid threat, and our monitoring program here has pretty much shown us that over the past couple seasons. So while we don't have a lot of pest pressure here, we still have some strategies in place that we try to have on hand in case we need to be reactive. If you want to find out more about SoSuCo, there's a couple ways you can do it. You can contact me directly. You can find my zgrant2 at illinois.edu on the Illinois Extension website. We actually do have a website dedicated to the demonstration farm. So if you were to type in SoSuCo Urban Ag Demonstration Farm or Cook County Extension Urban Farm, you'd be able to find a page dedicated to our site, as well as my vlog series on our YouTube channel for Local Food Systems Small Farm. It's called the Urban Ag Connect vlog series. If you just type that in any search engine, you can find these 5 to 10 minute vlogs I put out occasionally that usually showcase practices that we demonstrate here at our urban farm site.